Good evening. Welcome to Rehab Talk Radio. I'm your host, Kobach. I'm kicking it with my guest tonight, which is Rob. And he's got a heck of a story in a minute. This weekend, crazy stuff happening at the house. Almost everybody that I know of has been kicked out. This is where, not everybody, but we got quite a group of people here that's just been ousted for one reason or another. Girlfriends, drugs, you name it. So we're filming an empty house right now-ish. And it being Sunday to boot, everybody's out on a weekend pass. Okay, other than that, like I said, got my semi-co-host with me, my co-producer, but he is indisposed at the moment. I will not say where he's at, but he is we'll just say the washroom. Okay. Like I said, my host, my guest tonight is Rob. Rob, how are you tonight, bud?
I'm doing great.
Oh.
I was just laughing a little bit about how you said that everybody's getting ousted because I'm getting ousted by myself within another day. Got one more day left in the program.
I would say you're technically graduating.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a different. You're not getting booted. You're graduating. Yeah. So
first time ever.
Yeah, exactly. So, Rob, we're pretty much, I interview people. I ask them pretty much their story from the get. Here's what I know about you so far. I know that you've worked like various numerous jobs, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You were just telling me about a commercial that you were in. I'd actually like to hear the rest of that story.
Well, it just happened. My first program I was in, I came out of it after 7 months. It was the Renal Sparks Gospel Mission commercial. Or not commercial, but a commercial for them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the director asked me to be in a commercial because I was kind of a success story when I came out of that program.
Right.
And I was a chef at the Atlantis at the time. And I said, sure, they were nice to me and good to me. And I said, yeah, anything I could do to help, But that was pretty interesting because it had some airplay, and it was interesting to see how the other chefs and my boss and the people I work with reacted to it, the ones that saw it. And it was a pretty good reaction. I got a lot of good feedback out there. So it felt good to do something to give back a little bit,
That does feel pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got to. I think I was on like the news one time. I was like 7 years old because they built a cop shop like right next door to where we're at. It was on Neal Road, Bad Road.
I saw you on the news. Didn't you fall down a tunnel or something like that, a mine shaft?
that was the other little boy in the 80s. Yeah. No, I was the one that floated away and that said I floated away in the balloon and it was a hoax. Yeah. That was
I remember that.
So winding the clocks back, what originally got you here, Rob? Like what made it happen?
Wow. What originally got me here? I would say years and years of trying to fit in and trying to work harder and be better, like the $6 million man, So I started off with alcohol when I was a kid and then quickly went to speed and then coke and mushrooms and acid and all that. It was all due to, just being part of the guys, being in a peer group. It wasn't really an addiction until later in life. But the thing that really hit me as far as addictions go, what led to here, was meth and gambling and then alcohol after I quit the meth, after I was able to get through the meth. But the addictive behavior, that goes in my family. Almost everyone in a family is an addict or was before they died. And I'd like to think it wasn't just by choice. It was because the Irish Indian heritage that we have, and everybody knows about that. But it was a choice, actually, and I'm sad to say I'm the last remaining person in my family that's alive, and half of them either took their life or died because of overdoses and stuff. So, all my brothers, my sister, mom, dad, uncles, aunts, the granddaughter, the son, everybody dead.
So you're the last of the Mohicans.
I'm basically the last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, so we're talking sex, drugs, rock and roll got you here.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, yeah. And what actually got me here was I went through 2 programs before this. And
so this is number 3.
Yeah, this is number 3. This is the only one that I came in with the right attitude, in the sense that I was done with everything. I was done with life, basically.
Lucky number 3.
Yeah, I had got to the point with my heart. I had 2 strokes and 2 heart attacks. And the drinking was just insane. I managed to come off of crystal and gambling in 2017 with the help of the mission. And that was a huge thing. But then alcohol, I just pretty much poured everything into that. And so I replaced one habit with another, which a lot of people do. And so the drinking, when I found out that I had a heart defect that was going to kill me, and then I had the 2 strokes and 2 heart attacks back in, that'd be 2018 and 20 and 21. This one that was affecting me. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, well, I noticed that with a lot of textbook addicts, that they often do trade Peter for Paul, and it's not just a single addiction. It's usually either sex or gambling. Some sort of an outside drug addiction like accompanies it. Like I know that was how it was from my life. Now you said that you've had 2 strokes and 2 heart attacks, and is this related to? Or is this from smoking, drinking, bad health?
Smoked cigarettes anyway. But what brought that all on was it's a defect that I've had since I was born, and my mom and dad were both smokers, and that created the defect. My sister had the same defect in the heart. It was a bad valve.
Okay.
It weakened the valve at birth. And what the drugs and alcohol did was exacerbated it. It accelerated, made it worse.
Right.
So that's what was going on with that. I mean, crystal alone, it tears your heart apart, tears your brain apart. And that really, it really made it so that what was going on with me this last year would have been going on with somebody in their late 70s. And I was in my late 50s. So, it's it really, it could have been the end of me if I just kept it up, So coming into this program, the last 2 programs, had benefits to it, but I never finished it. As soon as I got a job and I was at a certain level in the program, both of those programs, I said the famous words, "I got this." Got myself
famous last words.
Yeah, I got myself a little apartment or a weekly whatever, and had a few bucks in my pocket. And then by the end of the week, in both cases, I was drinking. So that's why I feel sad a little bit about seeing so many people here that grab a job or, like you said, with the girlfriend or whatever. They just have some sort of outlet that's not in line with getting better, trying to overcome this addiction.
Exactly.
Time, that they just grab on that, and that's enough for them. And it's just not enough. And then they'll find that out in time.
Yeah. Well, I'm noticing that you have remarkably good teeth, too, for somebody that's been on meth. I've noticed a lot of people have very bad teeth, so you're doing okay there.
Well, that's a great compliment. Seeing how they were all pulled out 2 years ago.
They look great. I don't inspect your mouth when you're having it.
Yeah, that's it. I did have the case of meth mouth. And managed to last quite a while before I actually started showing up. It started with yelling in the teeth and cracking the teeth and stuff.
Yeah.
About 2014. And I'd already been an addict for 20 years. And then, it's a simple case of not keeping moisture in my mouth. It caused that's what usually causes it.
Oh, yeah. You
get dry mouth, you don't keep moisture in there, and then the bacteria builds and attacks your gums and teeth.
Real life cotton mouth.
Yeah, but just to an extreme, But then I was lucky enough when I was in the last program I was in to have the Medicaid, and then they went in and pulled all my teeth and gave me some decent dentures. So I'm very grateful for that,
I totally understand. So you notice that people have walked out, and as they've gone out, they say your famous last words, as you said, "I've got this." And I'm noticing that with people that are senior members too, is that they get senior, they get that little bit of freedom, and they almost can handle it. Like I've seen 4 or 5 guys with that.
Oh, sure.
So people that graduate.
How many I've seen?
Exactly. You've been here. Gosh, you are transitional.
Yeah.
You're Teal, and which you're way further than I am. I imagine you've seen a lot of people. Have you known people that have graduated from this program that are now?
Now what?
On a downside, on the downslope.
Yeah. To be honest, the rate of people, even with graduates that come out of here that are successful for more than a year, is like 30%. I mean, there's been in this program alone, I've seen 19 graduates since I've been here in this program.
19.
That's how many graduates they had. Technically, that means graduates that have gone to the graduation ceremony and gotten a certificate. The number is slightly higher for people that either they haven't had a graduation party yet.
They've completion.
Yeah,
they've had a completion,
but they've gotten far enough along in the program where they're acknowledged as the fact that they've accomplished everything in the program they're supposed to, and they have a reason for moving on. There's a lot of people like that. Now, with that, all those numbers combined, just off the top of my head, I would say probably the number would be closer to 40 even, But then out of that 40, this is not, scientific numbers or anything, but out of that 40, I would say a minimum of half are using again. Some of them it's almost automatic.
Oh wow!
So just graduating a program or getting through the process is not a guarantee that it's gonna stick and hold. It's a choice. When you get out of here, you can, like with me in the last two programs I was in, I thought in my mind that I was there, but they didn't think. The programs themselves said, "No, you're not there." Well, I didn't listen to them. I'm not one of those guys that achieved everything and then left back then. And so, it was almost like I couldn't wait to get out to get that first drink or get that first hit, You pretty much just look around and tell everybody, I got this, I can do this, all the while knowing in yourself.
Making the number one mistake of complacency.
Yeah, and it's not even complacency. It's more like a fever, All you can think about is lying to yourself and to everybody else about getting out of here because you got this, because down inside, damn well that you're leaving so you can go get high or go have that drink. You actually know it. It's a feeling you have. And you know what? You don't get let down either because you can just go right on the corner and grab some and that's it.
I will not lie. I've had many days to where I've wanted to do that. So I wanted to say, I got this, I'm going to go, but knowing that damn well in the back of my head, as you said, that I would, and I wouldn't. I've had those days, and they have been, as far as it goes recently, and it's the beast. I call it the beast. So what, have you had that, and of course you have, but while you were here recently, and how have you overcome that hurdle? Because I've had trouble.
Well, of course it happens to me. It happens to everybody, where you kind of think, hey man, I really could use a drink right now, or I could use a hit right now, or whatever. But every case is so independent, It's easy to group everybody together and say we all have that feeling. But you know what? The truth of the matter is that the strength of that feeling, what the substance is, the reason you feel like that is different, like fingerprints. It's completely different for each person.
It's our own custom fit hell.
Yeah, it's definitely not. And like in my case, I came in here to die, literally, because there's no way I could afford a $300,000 heart surgery. There's no way. My eyesight was gone. I was at 2250 in my eyesight.
You're gonna have to break that down to layman's terms for me.
2250, like if you got great eyesight, you got 20/20. Yeah, this is 2250, which means other than about 5 feet ahead of my face, I couldn't see anything.
So you see shapes.
Yeah, it was very dangerous. It was really bad.
That is bad, and
very depressing, which is another whole thing. But when I came in here, I was in such bad shape. I couldn't literally walk a block without having to stop and lean against a wall or against a post because I just had no endurance. I had no stamina, and I was dizzy all the time. I was in horrible shape when I came in here. They called the ambulance on me 5 different times the first 2 months I was in this program, and I was in the hospital. They admitted me 3 times when I first came in here. All because of gout and because of the heart and things that were related to that. So I was a mess. Oh. And instead of coming in and looking at it, this is a place for me to, at least I'll be safe when I die. Somebody will know I'm dead. And that's no drama. That's the truth. I had a fear of just keeling over and nobody discovering my body for days, especially in the place I was living at. But I found a reason to live. The people here in this program, the support services they have, They got around me, got me the help I needed, got me Medicaid, got me the right doctors, made sure that I followed up on everything, and I was able to get the surgery. And in the aftermath, the medical help afterwards, I got the eye surgery, and I'm feeling better right now physically than I felt in years and years and years, and I'm no longer depressed. I'm no longer anxious. I don't take any meds for that anymore, and I'm totally full of hope for the future, and I'm 62.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, when I did first meet you, you were going on your last surgery, I think, for your heart.
Yeah, that was my main one.
This would have been about 4 months ago.
Yeah, it was
maybe 5.
April. It was actually the end of May, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. So I got here in May. It was my first 3 weeks here then.
Okay, yeah. It was May 25th is when I had the surgery.
Yeah, I got here May 11th, and I just remember a lot of people were talking about you and your surgery. And when you'd gotten back, a lot of the fellows here at the house really helped you out, and I know that you were very grateful about that. Very appreciative.
Yeah, they even built a platform for my bed, because I couldn't sleep laying down.
Yeah.
I had to sleep like a horse, pretty much up. And they built a platform for my bed so I could, stay like that. It was either that or sleeping in a chair, which, I don't know if you've tried that, but it's no fun.
No, and I'm curious why you had to sleep flat on your back. For people like me to have no idea.
Because when they do the heart surgery, they cut you down the sternum from the neck, from the neck all the way down.
Oh, okay, I see the scar.
Yeah, all the way down to the gut, And then they put in spreaders and break your ribs from the inside, and they spread the rib cage wide open. So you're completely open from the neck down to your belly button.
That sounds slightly invasive.
Yeah, it's probably the most invasive surgery you can have. It's even more invasive than brain surgery, because brain surgery, it's all about microscopic and small instruments. This is
not ripping your chest in half.
This is literally, which is what they did. And so what they do when they put you back together again is they use wire, and they wire your rib cage shut, and that's with you forever. And so when they do that, you're just a broken bone that's wired together with wire, baling wire. And when you lay down flat like that, another thing they do is they deflate your lungs and push your lungs to the sides of your body. So they have to reinflate your lungs. They're very incredibly weak when you come through that surgery for a few months afterwards. And you got to be super careful about laying flat and trying to breathe and stuff, because they could just deflate.
So they just move your lungs aside. They're flattened out. You're not breathing for that certain amount of time.
Condoms. That's how small they get. They're just two little bags.
That's a way to describe them.
It's like 2 little bags, and then they literally lift your heart up in order to get to it, in order to put in a valve. And in my case, they put in a cow's valve, excuse me. So it'll last like at least 10 years, which is great. I mean,
I think that's wonderful.
Amazing surgery.
It makes me realize I could never be a doctor. No way. I can hardly stomach hearing about it, let alone seeing it.
That's a massive surgery.
That had to have been very painful. So when you lay down, it pretty much puts pressure on everything. Yeah. Okay, so you had to sleep with that pressure a little bit.
Lay on your side. Can't do that, because all that puts pressure on the rib cage, which could snap that wire or misalign the rib cage. So you're basically stuck in one position, and I was stuck like that for 3 months. It was just it's a small price to pay for being able to walk around the block now without falling over.
Amen.
Being dizzy and stuff. So anyway, that's medically speaking, I've achieved all my goals here in this program. You talking about getting out of here? I set up my exit strategy in December of last year when I first came in.
Well, we'll get to total exit strategy and making sure everything is. That's awesome. So you knew when you came in what the plan was, where we were going, what you were going to do.
That's huge.
Okay, so we've reached the part where you're exiting and your plan from here on out. Mm-hmm. Let's rewind a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's hit that back button. Let's go to the beginning.
Okay.
Where did the whole thing start for you? Was this in high school, grade school, college?
Drugs and alcohol?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I would say it was
the beginning of it.
Middle school.
So it's the 7th grade?
Yeah. 7th grade. I guess I was 14. you know. And it just started because I remember the first time that I smoked pot was I was with a friend in his house in the backyard next door. This hippie dude was smoking pot. You could smell it.
God bless the hippies.
I go, man, that smells good. Don't you have any to share? Never tried pot before. Never did any drugs or anything.
You
else.
just saw the Cheech and Chong movies.
I just wanted to be cool. No, I never did. My parents would kill me if
were they like to say, hey, pass that over?
Yeah.
Okay.
And anyway, and much to my surprise, the guy leaned over the fence and handed me the joint, you know. And I didn't even know what to do. And my friend had said, okay, you got to put up your lips and suck on it. And I said, well, that sounds nasty. So I did it anyway, and then that was all it took. You know, and I drank beer before that, a little bit, but I never really got too much off on it. It was mostly that first hit of pot, you know.
Now, did you get high your first time doing it? I didn't get high, and I heard a lot of people not getting high their first time they smoked.
But I'll tell you one thing, I was doing wheelies when I didn't know how, and racing up and down the street and just laughing my ass off. So
I would say you got high.
I'm going to have to say I did get high.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh yeah, if you're laughing and everything.
It was crazy. It was fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Hippie Man helped you out. We'll call him Hippie Man.
Well,
and
it's one way of looking at it that he helped me out. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
In your point of view at that point in time, I would say that you would.
Well, it opened up a whole new world, you know, because going from a guy who's too shy to talk to girls and just really introverted, you know, and just didn't want to socialize with anybody, all of a sudden I was life of the party, you know.
Now, I've known you for, we're going to say 6 or 7 months since May. Mm-hmm. And I walk by your room all the time. We conversate everything. And I've seen you around people. I would have to say that even sober, this had to have been an introverted phase for you growing up, because you are anything but introverted. You're very extroverted. You're very outgoing. You're very friendly.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons I love doing interviews with guys like you. You're just very wholesome, friendly people.
Yeah, that's good.
So I couldn't picture you that way. You're just so it opened you up.
And drugs and alcohol, I hate to say this, but that was a huge part of me being able to open up like that. However, to say that that's the only reason I opened up, that's not it at all. I think it was confidence, because I didn't have any confidence when I was a kid. I was just, I wasn't good at sports. I wasn't, Adonis or like you or anything like that, but didn't play music. So that was that key. But I was really in the military. My dad was pretty much a war hero. And I was groomed ever since as a kid. I was in the ROCTC, the Devil Puff, Silver Patrol, everything. And my whole life was geared towards being a Marine. And then, of course, an accident ended that, broke my back. So at 17, that was it, And it also was a double-edged sword, because it gave me a trust fund that when I turned 18, I got, and that completely ruined my life, I mean, having that kind of money as a kid was probably the single worst thing that ever happened to me.
So you were too young for it.
Oh, I think any 18-year-old.
Would this have been like those lottery nightmares? Were we talking?
No, it was all self-inflicted. It wasn't family coming after me or anything else. It was just me not having $2 bills to rub together most of my young life. And then in today's dollars, it would be the equivalent of about $150,000.
Oh, you were stacked.
Yeah, and that was back in 78, But when you could buy a Camaro for, $2,600.
A brand new one, fresh off the lot.
One, which I didn't own it for 68. I did have some taste,
I was just talking last night about how generations when those cars were popular and I'd have to pay God knows how much for one of those cars.
Yeah, right now you're looking at a minimum of $30,000.
Yeah,
to have one that didn't have pretty decent shape.
Yeah, you got a brand new one, new car smell and everything.
Well, no, I didn't buy it brand new. I bought a 68. I bought a 68 and 78, and I poured $3,000 into it. Just to muscle it all out. It was candy apple red. It was the real thing, And
you're lucky you didn't get yourself killed in that thing at 18.
Yeah, that was an insane time. But yeah, as far as that, it's just, it was all part of being part of the crowd, And that's how, every girl I ever met, every situation I was ever in that moved me forward in life in a decent way I was either high or drinking or socializing. It was my social go-to thing.
Well, absolutely. So. Yeah, it's the way to go. And the cars and everything, their status, too. That way, they've graduated. Gone from fitting in to now they call it status, I guess.
For the record, I had that car for 3 months. I had the money for 4 months. What does that tell you?
That tells me that you had a little too much fun in that 3 or 4 months.
Lots of memories, but that's all they were, memories, And that's the thing about being in addiction stuff, too, in my opinion, is that for the memories that you remember, it goes from having, that was cool, that was great, man, to it just dissolves into nothing but bad memories. Really, I have now. If I was to tell you, let's go back into I don't like talking about going back to addiction. I've never told my story here or anything else because I've done a lot of, like most people in addiction, a lot of shitty, fucked up things to people and to myself. So. Now I don't look back on addiction or the usage and stuff like that and how I lived, which I've done some pretty crazy things, that were other people might look at that and go, you got to do that? Oh my God. But when I look back on and look at how I got there and what I was doing when I was doing it, it's disgusting. It's freaking horrible. Sure, at the time, look at it like that. When you look back on it, I mean, I think I've done some nasty things, man.
That is indeed horrible. The beast.
Yeah, and when I think nowadays, I'll be laying in bed and all of a sudden a memory will pop in my head that one can construe it being, that was a memory of a hot time or something like that. It actually sickens me, and I got to tell myself to stop remembering, to get out of it. Because there's so much shame and guilt and bullshit that has grown through how many people I've heard destroyed and how many people I used that I just don't want to go there. And I've learned how to channel it now and be mindful now.
Yes.
So I can live into present, and I forgave myself for the past. And it went and did the whole 9-step or 12-step thing where I try to make amends and things like that.
Yeah.
With those that are alive, which most of them weren't. But I'll tell you one thing, there's no such thing in my case as glory days. There's no such thing as glory days. It is depending on your perspective, and my perspective is that it all sucked. Now I look back on it with disgust and disdain and hate, and I'm glad I'm here now. I'm glad I have a totally different personality.
What would you look at it as, like, mistakes made that you learned from that would kind of develop you into the person that you are?
I perpetuated those mistakes. I learned that it was the depression and anxiety and shame and guilt that was promoting the addiction part of it. And we're not talking about somebody who just took a hit or a drink. We're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody down completely in the depths of addiction that can't break, cannot stop or could not stop. And then the stuff that you do to maintain that, it's not like the teenager who smokes a joint.
No, it's the essence of the downward spiral.
It's the real thing, it's the real monster. And who you are when you're that monster, there's no way there could be any glory or any positive memories or anything like that. There's no way. You're lying to yourself if you think you have positive or good memories from that time when you're down in that kind of addiction. And then again, it depends on if that person really ever had, that serious, horrible, life-ending, down in the pit type of addiction, which I did.
So what made you pull yourself out of it? I mean, if you're in the depths of hell, there had to have been something that grabbed you and something that reached its hand out for you.
Well,
said, come on out.
I'd like to tell you, take a couple seconds. I'd like to tell you, but it's going to sound completely bizarre. I don't think anybody will even believe it, and I don't care. But that would be in 99. I was a chef. I was actually at one time the third highest paid chef or food and beverage person at the Atlantis. I was the banquet chef, which is a huge position there. And it was meth that helped me get to that because I can do anything 24 hours a day. I mean, the chef loved it my work ethic, because I was there all the time and I can multitask like a nut.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I used it, to get. There was that other side to that too, which if you did anything that was bad for my program, in my program, it meant my success. If you did anything that messed up the situation that we were in, I was a complete monster. I was horrible to work with. I could be your friend one minute and just absolutely do anything I can to get you gone the next. If you did anything that, I don't want to say I didn't like, but I will say anything that wasn't for the success of the mission of what we were doing. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
It does. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That it was for the mission and it was to get it straight.
Right. So the incident was I had a nervous breakdown at 3 o'clock in the morning after being up for 12 days on what they called ice back then. It's a real pure form of crystal.
I think they call it ice on like that show, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, this is before that. This is before anything.
I just know the term.
Yeah, I know. This is before that guy that was in that show. He was making it out in the desert, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, this is before all that. This I got it. I had a friend of mine who's a chef who was from the Philippines.
A chef. Now you say a chef, you mean
a chef, a real chef.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the Philippines is where it actually took hold, and it was the pure stuff. And that's where it went from there to Hawaii, which is the gateway to the United States. And this is back in the late 90s.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, I had a nervous breakdown and ended up calling the executive chef of the Atlantis. We're talking the very top guy at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I remember what had happened. The incident that made it happen was I'm sitting on my bed. I was already for days seeing shadow people and eagles, black eagles flying across my room, hearing voices of people that weren't there, hallucinating big time.
Oh, you were in the depths of the binge.
It was just gone, man, gone. Anyway, so I was sitting on my bed, and this is in a trashy weekly, and I was making $50,000 a year. But you know where it was going. So, gambling and meth. But I was, of course, I was noticed in the corner was a flicker of light.
Right.
It's pure darkness, right? And I remember this light getting brighter and brighter, so I started focusing on it. Of course, probably hallucinating, right? And then the light started getting bigger, and pretty soon it was filling up the whole room. And I was actually getting scared. I was like, what the hell? What's going on? And
was this like Jesus coming to you? Or
no, well, I have to get to that,
Gotcha.
So anyway, so I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden I heard this voice, and it was my mom's voice who had been dead for 3 years. And I also remember her saying, I didn't see her body or anything. I just felt her warmth, and I felt at peace. And the fear went away, and I remember the voice saying, why are you doing this to me? And it was to me, not to me, to her. And she said, why are you doing this to me? I mean, you could be anything you want. Why are you doing this to me? You're killing me. And I found it all ironic because she's already dead, So we said that we had a conversation. That light stayed there for quite a while. I don't know the time period, but we had a conversation which resulted in me being a heap of jelly on the floor, crying like a baby. I just really had a huge reaction to it. When that was gone and I was able to collect myself, I called the chef and I told the chef I'm in trouble. And I told him what was going on and stuff. And he ended up getting me some help. And that's kind of what led me into learning about programs and learning there was help out there. I didn't take advantage of it. I mean, I had to go through the motions because he wanted me to at that time. But it took another 10 years for me to actually, get way down to the point where I had to go to a program. But it was an emotional break.
It was
a total breakdown.
Well, some could call it a spiritual experience, maybe on a level.
In a level, I think it was, yeah. And I'm not afraid to go there too because what brought me into the mission this time, or not the mission this time, but the program this time, was being on the 5th floor of Harris. I was at my job working graveyard, and I was out in the parking garage, and I was drunk. It wasn't meth. And I was standing at the wall of the parking garage looking down, trying to find the best place to jump where I wouldn't hit the ledge that was on the 1st floor, because I didn't want to hit the ledge and bounce off into the street and be a paraplegic. I just wanted to hit clean and fast. And I was sitting there, and I had my hand on the post, and on the side column there. And I mean, I was literally ready to go over the edge because I had it. I had just had it with the heart problems and being drunk all the time and just being worthless. And then I just started looking over across Reno, and I said, you know what? I got to get some help because I don't want to end like this. I'm better than this. I can find something to live for, And before you know it, it took another month before I was called. The ambulance was called on me because I just had passed out and I was in bad shape. They took me to detox, and so that was what caused it this last time. I just had enough.
So you're on top ledge, and you had a little bit of a second to breather, and you said, "Okay, I see one avenue left. I'm going to take that single avenue,
That's right.
Even though it's a hole in the wall, and I know I'm not going to be able to squeeze through it. I got to try anyway." And luckily, you were able to squeeze through that wall, through the hole in the wall.
Absolutely, because it was really the end. I could feel it. I did. Everything was gone. Everything was gone. There was nothing. Everybody's dead. Relationships were gone. My dog was gone. Everything was gone, and there was nothing left. And so sometimes that's what it takes. It takes clarity of death, in order for you to want to live. And at least in my case, thank God, because I'm here, and this program has been just God sent for me.
That's actually poetic in a way, that takes the clarity of death to bring you back and out from the light, from the depths. Yeah. So what is the goal from here on out? I know that we'd stopped at that point, and then we've come back to it. So now that you found a life for yourself, I would say successfully too, because you've got all kind of plans for the future.
Well, you have to go back to December when I came into this program. When I came in, I had a really good case manager, and her name was Devin. And she got me right off the bat when I got in here. She realized what was going on with me. We had an incredible rapport.
That you were in trouble with yourself.
That I wanted to pull myself up.
Yes.
And she got all the information about the eyes and the heart and depression, anxiety, and all that. And like I said, here you got wraparound services, which if you take advantage of that, if you use that and are into that, it will save your life.
I absolutely do. When I first got here, I was seeing a psychotherapist. Who else was I seeing? Like I said, the classes and everything that we take. Yeah. Absolutely. And all those things seriously help. Like a therapist helped me very much. I still see a therapist.
Yeah.
Helped me out immensely.
On a side note, I can tell you, I hear a lot in meetings about how much courage it takes when we have somebody who bounces out of here and goes and uses and then comes back, or whatever. And I that's all great. I mean, I understand where they're coming from on that, but I hear about, mostly from staff, about how much courage it takes to walk back through those doors. And I beg to differ a little bit on that, because I have been there. I have been where I've gone out and used and immediately fucked up and just, have that empty feeling like, what the fuck did I just do? And, it's more like desperation. Because when you leave a program like that and you don't have a plan, you just have that overpowering desire to use. We've talked about that already. And you go out and use, you find yourself, you basically have no place to go 9 times out of 10. You still haven't corrected any problems. You haven't done anything to help yourself. You just wanted to get out and just be high again, And to walk through that door means you have food in your belly, you got a bed to go to, you got a roof over your head. And that's kind of, what the real whole thing is about. You just realize you just jumped in the deep end of the pool again without a life jacket, and now you're scared. So the real courage in this program are the people that take these classes and take the wraparound services to heart, and they actually open themselves up to the experience, and they want to be here, and they want to do it, and they want to complete it. They don't get a first check. They don't get a little taste of freedom and decide, you know what, oh, I've got this. They stick it out to the end through thick and thin. That's what takes the real courage, is to be able to get up every single day, go through this tradition, go through this process, go through the pain, and come out of it at the end with a plan, with income, with secured housing, with aftercare, after support, all that kind of stuff, and do it right. That's what takes courage, because it's so easy to say, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to go have a drink.
It is beyond easy to do that. That is the easy way out.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to just talk for a second. But it kind of irks me a little bit when I hear, all this courage that it took to walk right back in those doors. God bless those guys for coming in. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do that. I'm saying maybe they should have, reached out while they were here and got some help and been honest and said, hey, I feel like walking out and using. Instead of just saying, fuck you, the program, and just walking out using, and then in some cases, expecting or knowing they're just going to get taken right back. It's like a revolving door.
I would say it can depend on the person some of the time. It can.
It does, yeah.
You'll have somebody that comes in and doesn't respect the program. They're talking way more than they're listening. And I've seen these people come in and do it. They don't respect the program. They don't take it in. They don't appreciate the position that they're in, because there's a line out the door of people that are have been waiting to get in here. And in that aspect, it can, what's the words I'm looking for? It can induce a certain amount of humility to come back in here.
One would hope.
One would hope. Yeah, to brave looking at people that had once looked up to you and that you had taught, and now they're, as far as, induction, primary, senior, that does hold stature here. To come back into that, yes, I can understand that point, and I can completely understand your point of somebody that manipulates a system. And that's the people that I know. I totally understand that you're talking about.
For a group of people who grew up in addiction, who became experts at manipulation and working systems for their own benefit, which the majority of us are, let's put it this way. If there was ever
I've done it.
If there was ever a club of con men who could organize and be a union, it would be in recovery. And we all know what we're talking about. We're not going to fuck around with this.
Comical way of putting it. It's straight to the point. I love that. Absolutely.
And when you are in recovery, it's amazing how many people they have this background, they have this knowledge, they have this capability, but they can still be completely taken in and duped by people who are basically, sociopaths. And because we all have that aspect too, but they come in, they're on fire, they want to do all the extra chores, and they want to head every single committee when they
very motivated,
and they want to talk at every single meeting. They want to do everything they can to shine, and and a lot of times you can see right through that. I understand why some of the staff, they kind of push that, and why they kind of, center on that and say, oh, this he's the guy, he's the star and all that kind of stuff. But what they don't seem to realize that 9 times out of 10, those people are doing that because of the personality they formed in their addiction. They need that recognition. They need that feeling that they're the man. They need that spotlight. And you know what happened? I call it being on fire. You come in being on fire, in the program and stuff like that. And again, not knocking it. I'm just saying it's a definite sign. And then what happens after a month or 2 months? That fire starts to dwindle, and before you know it, that person is like, he's looking down at the program, he's not participating, he's complaining all the time, and in another month or so after that, he's out the door. I think there ought to be a lot more encouragement from the staff to moderate these guys that are on fire, and to work with them even more and let them know, okay, it's great what you're doing, but you got to think this is a program for you. I'm not here to be a chef for the people here. I should have, a lot of people say, why didn't you ever go in that kitchen? I'll tell you why, because it's a trigger for me. I'm not here to do all the extra chores. I'm not here to do this, that. I'm here for me. I'm very selfish about my recovery. And that's where I look at it. So
that is a good way to look at it. I love new viewpoints here, because all I have is my little box that I see out the window to everybody else's life, and then what people tell me and hear where I'm talking to them. And you do see that the people that are overly motivated on fire, they want to just help out the whole house, get the gold star, the good job, Walmart happy face on your way, pat on the ass, go on out there and be somebody.
Which is fine.
More power to them. And I have seen the people that you're talking about, the people that don't want to, that do burn out, and they do become very detached and non-talkative throughout,
Well, this and people. in a sense, because they do burn out.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is
no. I understand what you're talking about. I know what you're saying. You're saying that is one and the same. That they do that. From another standpoint, from staff standpoint, I understand that they've led one type of lifestyle. Mm-hmm. What they like to see is somebody that's been down in the dumps, somebody's been screwed over, somebody's lived their lives basically doing nothing but drugs. And they come in and they're trying to, I guess, form a new lifestyle, form new habits, and it also helps staff out because we have been short staffed in the kitchen too many times to count. A million times. So politics can play a role in that. I'm not saying you're wrong by any means.
No,
you're absolutely right.
And again, I'm not knocking that. What I'm saying is that there's a difference between going in and helping out in the kitchen and being a cook or whatever. I don't know why we're centering in the kitchen. It's in anything. A lot of these people, it's not that this is the first time they've had an opportunity to shine. That's bull. A lot of these people have had an opportunity to shine in their life in the wrong way. It's just the same, what is it? Not activity, but it's the same situation, but in a sober way. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it should be modified and people should be helped that are in that so they don't burn themselves out, is what I'm saying. Because when you put so much of your time into the house as opposed to your program and yourself, then you have that possibility. So, and the whole original tangent we got on this for is because I was talking specifically about me. Why I did not want to do that. Because I've done that in the past and it didn't work. I mean, I was that guy.
It's absolutely a weird position to be that guy. I know I've been that guy.
That's what I learned from. By being that guy, when I came into the program this time, my whole idea was, I'm going to be selfish about this program. I'm going to make myself better. I'm going to get the medical and the mental help that I need, and I'm going to concentrate on my mindfulness and my boundaries, and I'm going to get better.
And that is exactly what staff, caseworkers, your therapists, your psychologists, everybody wants to hear that. It's it's the way when you come in here, you've left the outside world behind. Everything out there can't matter, at least for a little while. It can't. You're too important for that. You have to be selfish for a little while. And yes, I advocate that 100. And I'm glad to actually hear those words spoken out because I've heard them, I've acted them, I've never spoken them, I've never heard somebody else speak those words too about being selfish with this program. Absolutely. And I thank you very much for saying that.
And Chris, look at the opportunity we have. We're in a building where we're being fed. We have a place to stay. It's safe. I mean, we have an environment where there's a lot of services here that are designed to help you. If you come in just to be life of the party and have a place to stay or get off paper or whatever, and you're really not, you really don't care.
You will 100% fail this program.
Yeah, you'll fail. And what a shame that is.
And not only that, but you're going to kind of upset people here along the way. We're around each other 24/7. We see those people. You know those people. I know those people.
But here, I'll tell you something about that, about the great thing about boundaries and about growing in this program, is I don't get upset at those people anymore. I really am not upset at them. Because you know why? I'm so centered on my success and how I'm going to come out of this program and have a changed life. And I'm so grateful for where I've gotten to in this program that I pretty much just count it off as, hey, that's your thing. That's really true. That's your deal, man. It might sound a little cold-hearted, but it's not. Because why should I put an ounce of effort or thought or caring or whatever into somebody who won't do it for themselves when I got so much that I got to change about me? It's taken literally all of my feeling and all of my emotion to fix me.
Hey, if I don't have to clean up after them, they're not getting into my lane, then it wouldn't bother me not one bit.
That's good. I mean, you pretty much
it won't bother me one bit.
Yeah. And I respect people like you and like the guy sitting behind me reading Archie comics.
That's him shining right now.
There's a lot of us in this program. I want you to just think for 1 second about this. The majority of this program is not made up of people who don't care or aren't getting it or don't want it. The majority of this program is made up of people who are sincerely trying to get better themselves. They're opening up more relationships with their past, with the people they love. They're trying to prove their consistency. They're trying to prove they can respect people. They're trying to be humble. And they're just day to day grinding. And I'm going to use that word grinding in this program.
Yeah, it is a good word for it.
To get through this program in a positive way and get something out of it. That's the majority of the people here. It's the problem is the minority is so vocal and so obvious. They get all the attention. And that's the same thing in real life too. When you're at work, who gets more attention? The guy that comes to work every day on time, doesn't take long breaks, doesn't fuck off, he's just trying to do his job? Who gets more attention? Or is it the guy that's in the break room going, I hate this place, that person's so lazy? We all know the truth.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the same thing here, So God bless them all because they balanced the program out, but I'm not going to give them a time of day, when I'm in here or when I'm out of here. I give my time of day to people like you and Desi, and there's so many other ones here that I don't need to mention names, but there's so many other ones here that I look up to, that I respect, that I have every intention of praying they have the same kind of success that I have coming out of here, because I want everybody in this program sincerely to feel like I do right this minute, having all the stuff for the first time in my life bought and paid for, not stolen, not taken from a girl or whatever, to furnish my new place, to have the first 2 months of deposit paid on my new place out of my pocket, no help from anybody, to have a savings account, to have aftercare places to go to, centers and counseling and programs and stuff when I'm out of here, so that I know I'm not going to be alone, isolating in my room, and I'm going to have a dog. And I'll tell you one thing, I'd rather have that dog than just about anybody else. So here's the deal, man. I know where I'm going. I know where I've been. I know where I'm at right now. And that's what I want everybody to feel. I can't stress the excitement and the happiness I have at 62 years old, as ugly as I am, to have and that's a joke, by the way, to have a chance and a new future and be ready for it. I'm 100% ready for it. And then guess whose fault it is if it fails? It's mine. It ain't yours, Chris. It ain't the program. It'll be my fault. It's all on me. And that's what everybody should get through their head. It's all on you.
And here I can't believe that you have never once spoken at the Monday, Wednesday, or Fridays. Never once.
Yeah,
Oh, you have?
Yeah. Well, I was going to those meetings.
Well, you said that you never told your story. You could be a motivational speaker, my man.
Well, I've never told my story, but I have spoken. I've interacted with people that were in there. I'm one of the biggest, when I was in groups and stuff like that in classes, I was one of the biggest interactors there were. I had something to say all the time in the book, but I never put the light on myself. I didn't want to do that. And there's a reason for it.
But what did you talk about in relapse prevention then?
Well, you have other people that tell their story, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you ask questions and you make.
Oh, okay, I'm
very involved.
What I'm saying is you've never sat in the chair.
No, never.
Oh, okay, that's what I was saying in the beginning. So I was going to ask your big takeaway from this, but I think we already got that.
What's that?
Well, what your big takeaway was from it?
From the program?
Yeah, and you said that your happiness, that you got everything straight. You got your ducks in a row. You got your medical. You got a place to stay. You own everything that you've got.
It's the big takeaway is I'm alive, and I don't mean I'm alive like I'm surviving. I'm alive. I have total hope and faith that from the time that I left on this earth, that I'm going to have the kind of life I should have had all my life.
Not just that your heart's beating, but you actually have.
I'm alive, dude.
Yes.
And even the way that I treat people now, compared to the past, I'm a completely different person. I do not. Those values that we read every morning, those are important. They've become integrated into my brain, my heart. And I don't have to go around saying, I don't have to, and I'm not knocking anything or anybody. I don't have to go around saying, I'm showing caring, I'm showing respect, I don't have to say that. I just do it.
Yeah.
What's the point of just talking about it all the time unless you do it? But I do see a huge importance in these morning meetings and reading these rules, because it is true. It's if you get exposed to it every single day, it becomes subconscious.
Bo exposed it to me in a way that you remember.
Oh, he's one of my best friends.
He's a great guy. I still have his guitar.
Mm-hmm.
He would not take me to the store because when you're induction, people that don't know, you can't go to the store without somebody escorting you when you're induction or primary. So he would never take me to the store unless I knew at least 4 of the core values.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes. So I had to find a way to memorize that. I go CCHHRR. Okay, that's 6 of them right there. Care, consistency, honesty, humility, respect, responsibility, because it's the first 3 letters of my name, Kovac Chris. That he would not take me to the store unless I think that's a great way. I think nobody should be able to go to the store until they know at least 3 of them. I think that would be great.
Well, in the old program that was of the same name, that was a requirement to phase up. Was that you had the philosophy, and you had to know at least 5 of the cardinal rules, and then the values. You had to be able to recite those in order to move up. And they've gotten away from a lot of things, but
I think that would be great if they went back to practice.
It kind of ties in with the one peeve I have right now. The only peeve that I can think of that even matters is I'm seeing a disturbing trend with our morning meetings. With them kind of, there was a tradition there, and there was a seriousness there, and there was a justification and a huge support from staff to make sure these morning meetings were respected and came off as the way they were intended to. And I'm here to tell you, I see staff slipping big time on that.
Well,
it's been consistent. It's not just a weekend. I've seen it consistently.
That, and there's been an energy of redundancy in it.
Yeah, which does happen in this house. It comes and goes. I've been here for a year, exactly 1 year. And I can tell you that what you're talking about right now, it's a malaise.
Kind of the fade out.
It's a malaise, and it's a cycle, and it does go through the house. And what it takes is it takes people getting fed up with this whole, the whole attitude, the vibe of it, and a few people, kind of instigating, hey, what are we doing here? What's going on? Let's and it's not just an influx of new people that's going to do it. You can influx new people into a bad vibe, and guess what's going to happen? Most of those people are going to go with that bad vibe. It's going to take people that know what it's like to have a successful house, a community, and put their foot down and just say, that's it. We got to get back to the basics and get back to being a community again. So one of the first things I think that need to be addressed is the meeting thing, and stop this attitude of, we got to go to a meeting. Oh, we don't have to have a meeting today. Yay. And, you have a place you're supposed to have the meeting, have the freaking key ready so we can go over there and have the meeting. It's just stacking people up like cordwood in a stairway where you can't hear. It's not a meeting. It's ridiculous. So they need to get their shit together and make sure that these morning meetings are respected by staff if you expect the people that are here in the community to respect that.
To follow suit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I love staff, but it's, you got to be true.
Oh, they're great people.
Speak truth to power, man.
Yes, I definitely hope that they definitely form a union and get better things going on. But hey, that's all the time we got.
Yeah, that's great, man. I had a good time.
Like I said, I wish you luck in the future. I thank you so much. I know I've been trying to get you forever on this show, one way or another, and I'm glad I did. And Rob, I do wish you the best
in
everything.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, from Rehab Talk Radio, that's gonna do her, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, hope I get you fired.